Welcome to day 7 of Shop Talk, the 30-day reset for auto repair shop owners. I'm Rachel Evans, CEO and founder at the Workshop Whisperer. For 12 years now, we have been helping auto repair shop owners just like you to achieve business success. And I'm showing up here with you for 30 days in a row on YouTube at the busiest time of year. Today is the 17th of December. It's actually our eldest daughter's 23rd birthday, so can't forget the date today. And we're doing this at the busiest time of year to show you that even during the busy times, even during the hard times, even during the times when you don't want to, you will show up if it's important enough. So if you make it a priority, it'll get done. If you keep making excuses, then what you can expect is that you will continue to get the results that you have. So it's an extremely busy day for you today in your auto repair shop. I know that because of how long I've been in the industry. During my time as an auto repair shop owner myself, and mobile mechanic business owner as well. We know exactly what's going down at this time of the year, and you are simply trying to pump through those services and repairs to close off as many invoices as you can and get as many cars back to customers as you can and as much money through your FPOS machine as is possible. So bravo to you for being here and seeing this. And it actually doesn't matter at what time of the year you do watch this. All of the messages that I'm sharing with you are equally relevant because, in case you hadn't noticed, in small business, doesn't matter what kind of small business, there's always something going on that can take your attention away from working on your business. And it is your ability to go, okay, this is happening, but it's just another thing. I'm not going to let it take my eyes off the prize. We don't go into business for a mediocre result. We don't go into business to remunerate ourselves less than we would if we were an employee working for somebody else. And we don't go into business to carry around a stress level that is so unhealthy for us that we're actually hurting our bodies physically and mentally by doing it. We don't go into business for that. None of you jump ship from your last employer thinking, I'm going to go and start my own thing because I want to be stressed out to the eyeballs. I want to never have enough money and I want to never see my family and my friends and my kids and do fun stuff when I want to do it. That's not what you think. You think the exact opposite. You go into business because you think you want the freedom that a small business can provide. Unfortunately, they don't provide mandatory business training when you're doing your apprenticeship, and you're often apprenticed by someone who doesn't quite have a handle on how to run a profitable business so that they can enjoy the benefits of business ownership. And those things get modeled for you. And while you might see that you can do things slightly differently, you still take a lot of that conditioning into your own business with you. So far, in our first 6 days of Shop Talk, we've looked at the various aspects of your labour rate, not looking at your competitors to see what they're charging, making sure you don't base your own labour rate off that, making sure that you're capturing all the hours you can and passing those through to your customers. We've looked at parts margin. We've looked at not listening to your fear mind, your ego, when it's suggesting to you that you don't have time, because your ego, your fear mind, just wants the status quo. As humans, our default setting is not to move towards change, it's to be comfortable. So we've spoken a lot about that in the previous 6 days, and I highly recommend that if you're just finding this here on day 7, that you jump back through YouTube to find those. But today I want to talk to you about not actually being afraid of your competition and why, but when to put your foot down when you can see that you're being taken advantage of by current employees or by somebody that you did apprentice, for instance, or did come to work for you, and then they make noises, they're off to do their own thing, or they actually go up and open up in competition to you. So you are in a situation where you've probably got more competing businesses around you than ever before. It's exactly the same for us at the Workshop Whisperer. There's people popping up in the space all the time that have got something to say, something to share, and some of them are doing a good job and some of them are hurting people. There's no question about it. So we often have clients come to us with the idea that they don't want to apprentice anymore. Apprentice technicians, because they just train them up for 4 years and then they leave to go and do something else, work in the mines or start their own thing, and they think, what's the point? And that's a pretty sad state for our industry, to think that, we're not going to apprentice kids for that reason. But it's a totally understandable point of view if it's happened to you a few times. And then we've got those who feel really frustrated and hurt by technicians that they've invested a lot of time and effort into growing as leaders, that they have then to run their shop. So, they're doing the things that allow them as the business owner to start to experience that freedom, but then that person takes that and they either take it to go and do something good with it, because what we don't want to do is be resentful of anyone that wants to go and do their own thing, because remember, you were like that once and I was like that once. But there are conversations to be had if somebody is doing things that are intentionally attempting to take away your customer base. And I'm sure that you've seen elements of that back when you're an employee. You may have had that experience personally yourself in the business that you're currently in. We've certainly experienced it. We have a small handful of former clients running around out there who are with us for a very long time, who are trying to share what they learnt from us by selling it to other workshop owners. Do I want to take away someone's opportunity to be self-employed? Absolutely not. Go for it. But do it with your own stuff. So we will enforce boundaries to protect my intellectual property, which is essentially what we're talking about here. Now, in your auto repair shop, it's not so much intellectual property that you're able to protect, but it is your customer base and what you paid through marketing and years of word of mouth experience that you're able to try and look after. So what if the technician that's maybe been with you through their apprenticeship, you put lots of time and effort into them once they became qualified, and you were, growing them into being your leading hand or foreman or maybe even workshop manager, whatever the title is, and you discover that the employment benefit that you've been offering of them being able to come in on the weekend perhaps and do cashies on their family cars or friends and family cars. What if you discover that that's actually turned into them doing cashies outside of the agreed vehicles that they could work on, or even if they're starting to do the customers that used to pay you through the business on the weekend at a cheaper rate? What if you discover that? Your fear mind may suggest to you that there's nothing you can do about it, or it may suggest to you, well, we can't get rid of this person because we put so much time and effort into him or her and we need them here in the business. If I move them on for this or I start to take action because of this, I'm going to lose the freedom that I've been working towards. Some of your other team members may be aware that this is occurring, so they think it's okay for them too. You have to remember that when you're a leader, your team members are most often paying attention to what you tolerate, not what you preach. So if you've given your team members the very generous benefit of being able to, use your hoist on the weekends for their own staff or cashies for family members, and you discover that that has been taken advantage of, it would be poor leadership from you not to address it head on and to speak with the team member in question. But what you also need to do is dig deeper into what their future plans are. Now, with all of our clients, we teach them a performance review, our method called the Feedback Forum, which happens quarterly. And part of the idea of the Feedback Forum is that you're able to ask questions about, what their future plans are, what are they working towards. And in 98% of cases, you'll be the one to help them work towards those things that they're trying to achieve in their future, especially where you've identified they're an A player. Like, I want to help every single person on my team to become the person they want to be, the professional they want to be in their role. And if I can help them in something outside of work, if I can help them save for a deposit on a house by splitting their pay packet each week into 2 bank accounts for them, or I can connect them to a property coach or a great broker or whatever it is, I want to know that information so I can help. And they're the kind of conversations that we should be having regularly with our team members, so we're always understanding what they're trying to work towards. Now, you may develop the best people and they may be loyal, but then you've developed them so well that they want to go out on their own now. And again, that's okay. Like, that actually means you've done a great job. You've given them the confidence and the skills training to want to be like you. They want the opportunity to be building what you're building. But where you need to address things head on is where they start white-handing you with your team or your customers. Because you have spent probably a 6-figure sum getting your business to the point where it is today through marketing, through all of the initiatives that you've put in place, equipment, hiring amazing salaried technicians and service advisors. And if you haven't had the experience yet of having some great ones, well, it's a great thing that you're here. Because I can point you to our recruitment system that will help you do that, called No More Bad Hires. Jump over to our website at workshopwhisperer.com. The entire program that will step you through that, including the GPT that'll write your job ads, it's only $29. If you are doing that, you are setting people up for success in their future life, but you have to tackle it head on, where people then just come and try and take advantage of all the time, effort, and money that you have put in. Leaving it and thinking that you don't like conflict, you don't want to push them out before they're ready to go by addressing it head on, or just by pretending that it's not happening, it's going to come around and bite you in the butt 5 times more than if you address it now. So the message really is to grow people with the skills so that they can go out in the world to succeed, but install in them and make sure they're aligned with your values, which would be integrity and loyalty. And do such a great job being a great leader and having an amazing culture that they can have all of these skills grown into them, but they don't want to leave. They love working for you. They love the job they do. They love their position in the team and they love the team they work with. That's our job as leaders, to grow a culture like that. Now, A players won't always respond to a bigger pay packet, but they will always take into consideration the cultural environment around them. And if your culture sucks, do not expect to hold on to that A player that you've grown. So it can be really disappointing to discover that someone you've put so much time and effort into is looking around somewhere else. But if they're an A player, they probably will always compare their value on the market to their value with you, which is why you've got to do a good enough job at salary and culture. Salary alone won't do it. Culture alone won't do it either. It's got to be both. People who look like A players, mimic an A player, might be able to, produce 105, 110% productivity for you at 100% efficiency every week, but they're not a cultural A player. They're the ones most likely to take all of your time, effort, and training and go and do it for themselves. So it's so important to know that you are values aligned with these people in the first place. How do you learn that? Experience. That's the only way. I can prattle off everything in a structural, systemized way about values, but the only way you actually understand what I'm talking about when I say you've got to be values aligned with these people is by experience. So when someone goes and does something totally shit and you can't believe it, you can't believe that they would do that, they're showing you we were never values aligned in the first place. So have a think about that. If you've experienced that disappointment of someone you've invested so much time and effort and money into, just doing something that totally blows you away, where did you miss the red flags? It's been part of my own leadership growth to have missed plenty of red flags. Let me tell you, that's how I know to pass this stuff on to you. So what makes me such a great mentor is because I've lived it. But the one thing, particularly when it comes to competition popping up in the market, the one thing that I can be sure of is that right from the get-go, 12 years ago, when the Workshop Whisperer first started, my narrative, the messages that I put out to the market, they have not changed in that 12 years. I haven't changed what we do for trends. I haven't changed what we do to try and alienate a part of the market while winning another part of the market. I haven't had to lie about my results when I was a workshop owner or my clients' results. It took about a year after starting the Workshop Whisperer to have had enough clients come through where I could start sharing their results. And from that point on, the results and the wins and the profitable workshop owners who are so happy, we've just been able to capture those and keep sharing. And when I first wanted to speak on stage in the industry to share with more people, I knew that I had to have some kind of documentation for people to look at, to back up what I was saying. And that led to the publication of, oops, you're not going to be able to see this. There we go, of my first book, Turbocharged. That came out in 2015. So we're talking 10 years ago, nearly 11 years ago, where I put in here what was actually, still occurring at the time in my own workshop, and I was already sharing it with other workshop owners. Okay, that's abundance, and I've never stopped doing that. Next came the next book. Let me see if I can, there we go. Poor to Profit, an auto repair shop owner's guide to financial success. So I started sharing financial literacy for auto repair shop owners after the first book. And then the most obvious sign that an auto repair shop has come across the Workshop Whisperer is that they're running a flexible work week. They've got a 4-day work week installed in their business. Whenever I see an auto repair shop owner's business hours, and it's Monday to Thursday or Tuesday to Friday, or I know that they're running a crew style system where everybody takes an extra day off during the week at some point, I know they've come across the Workshop Whisperer. They've either been inside our programs or they have downloaded a free copy of this book where I step by step told everyone, shared with everyone how you implement a 4-day work week into your business. And I have never moved away from those messages. I can even tell when competitors pop up and they've been watching me on YouTube because they sound like me. They take the things that I share and try and parrot it back in their own stuff. Good luck to them. But the ones that try to suggest that they came up with it themselves that have used to work with us, not okay. Boundaries enforced there. And that is the message that you need to take. As a business owner, if somebody is doing something right under your nose where you have a work agreement where they acknowledge that they're not to do that, an agreement of what type of work they can do if you're going to allow them to use hoists, etc., out of work hours, and they break that, that is your trigger to do something about it. Not doing something about it means you lose respect with your other team members who are watching. Even if you think they're not observing, you are always being observed as the leader. So don't be afraid of competition, but when it's coming out of your own ecosystem, be aware of where it's coming from and how it happened. So if you knew, because you were doing feedback forums every couple of months with your team members, if you knew right from very early on when you brought this person into your employ that one day they wanted to own their own shop, then please don't be surprised when you help somebody get to that point. But be mindful of the ones who you thought were A players that never were and are doing something to actively destroy your customer base. That's where you have to step in. That's leadership. Step up, deal with the conflict. You can do it professionally, but don't allow the rest of your team to see you be ripped off or be disrespected. Be very, very clear in what you tolerate because that's what they're watching for. Alrighty, please subscribe to our channel. Please like this video. And I really look forward to seeing you tomorrow for day 8 of Shop